my friends, and happy Friday the 13th. It is Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, the best damn anime reviewers on YouTube. And today we're going to take a look at another classic series from the 80s, Stardust Crusaders, now done in modern anime form. And this week's episode, my friends, kicked a lot of ass. It was Polnareff versus Centerfold, and that's the last time I'm going to refer to that character by this name, because I actually figured out, thanks to you guys, that his actual name is Geil, and this actually makes a lot of sense why they changed his name to Centerfold, and everything just sort of fell into place, and if you don't know why, I'd say it's pretty obvious. My love runs cold, my memory has just been sold, my angel is a centerfold, angel in the centerfold. But enough of my crappy singing, let's get back on track. This week's episode featured a massive confrontation between Jean-Pierre Polnareff and Jay Giles in his hangman stand. I love the hangman stand. It looks so awesome. Aside from the aesthetic of being a ninja mummy, its actual powers are very creative and make for some of the coolest action scenes that I've seen in the entire series. And that's not just Stardust Crusaders. That's even the stuff we saw in the first half, the whole Phantom Blood and battle tendency. I'm really digging this part of the series, and it's easily my favorite part of JoJo. However, I am a little biased as I've never read the manga and I've only been watching the anime at this point, so who knows what's going to go down in this ridiculous future. But what I can say is what's going on this week was great. So the action scenes this week are really what sort of sold it for me, and I love the build-up for them. I love the fact that when Kakyoin and Polnareff are trying to escape in this truck, that Jay Giles is still able to attack them with all of the reflective surfaces all over the truck. There's this one little piece of metal on the steering wheel, and just that alone gives Jay Giles enough time to actually attack Kakyoin and send them flying off the road, which leads to their very first confrontation, but this also leads to Jay Giles' downfall, because this is when they finally start to learn how his abilities work. Since he's able to use reflective surfaces, it's confirmed that he can only be in one at one time, and he has to continuously switch to them like a beam of light. However, it's during this period when he switches that he is vulnerable. In fact, the Silver Chariot is able to attack him because that thing is freaking fast as all hell, and the first time it actually tries to attack him, you can see that it's using this little kid, and it's the reflection in his eye, and this kid's not going to notice these like massive muscle-bound anime characters covered in blood just randomly walking through the desert. They're going to cause a little bit of attention, and because of this, they're constantly staring at them, and it causes Polnareff to actually have to kick some dust up into this kid's face to attack him, and this is where he gets his first blow against Jay Giles, and this is when they realize, okay, this is how we're going to stop him. However, things get taken to a next level when they finally do introduce Jay Giles in full, and he's really not all that crazy looking. He's just a weird, creepy looking son of a bitch, just a bald, golemized looking guy with sharp teeth and white irised eyes, and of course the two right hands. That's just strange. I thought there'd be more behind that, aside the fact that he's just some sort of weird inbred freak. But that's pretty much it. That's all there is to it. So Jay Giles actually calls all of these villagers over to Kakyoin and Polnareff because he tells them that they have money and they're giving it away. And that's when all these zombified looking villagers come over, and I swear to God they reminded me of little Titans from Attack on Titan. All they want is that money, and they're surrounding them completely, and this gives Jay Giles the perfect opportunity to attack them continuously. However, Kakyoin comes up with a brilliant plan where he has this golden coin in his pocket, and since everybody around them wants money, he flips it up in the air, and this causes all of them to look up at the money at the same time. They then kick a little bit of dust in their eyes, which causes Jay Giles to have to jump into the coin because they're all looking straight up. Otherwise, he has nowhere else to go. This just gives the Silver Chariot the perfect opportunity to cut him straight down the middle, which somehow does not kill him quite yet. It just causes Jay Giles to run away like a little bitch. And this is when Polnareff finally gets his revenge, where Jay Giles literally ends up hanging himself. Yes, the hangman has been hanged. That's very, very appropriate. I almost didn't think that he was going to be killed this early on. However, it was still pretty satisfying, and this is still pretty early on the series, so I know there's going to be some really crazy stand users down the line. Speaking of which, the episode actually ends with Whole Horse returning, and we get to learn that he really doesn't work well by himself. He actually explains that he has to be in a two-man team to fully be effective, and he makes a quick escape, and that's thanks to that one girl who I now believe is probably working for Dio at this point, and that's only because she clearly attaches some sort of weird thing to Joseph Joestar's arm, and that's confirmed at the end of the episode and in the preview of next week's episode. But that's a discussion for next week. So What is the rundown on this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders? I loved it a lot. I love the creativity in this series. I can't compare it to anything else. The action scene this week is almost impossible to describe to someone who doesn't know anything about JoJo. It's just one of those things you kind of have to see. I loved the entire scene where they were escaping in the truck, how Geil can basically just appear from anywhere, and how, you know, even as they were leaving, he was sort of like jumping from reflective surface to reflective surface, and I just thought that looked really cool. Geil himself really isn't all that interesting. He's basically just a goon. He's just the bad guy who works for Dio. That's all there is to it. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, and I'm sure Polnareff was too. He's getting revenge for his sister, but he really didn't get too much out of it, aside from just slaughtering a dude, and basically, that's the point of revenge. You don't really get that much out of it. You just get a little small amount of satisfaction. Now, there's the whole deal with Abdul, who I'm frankly just going to say is not dead. There's no way they're killing this guy, especially because at the end of the episode, they have the scene again where Jotaro and Joseph mentioned that he had a proper burial that we did not see, by the way, my friends. Come on, there's no way this badass fire guy is going to be killed this early in the series when he's featured that heavily in the intro of the show. I refuse to believe it. So the animation and the artwork this week was pretty good and very clean and consistent, very in line with the rest of the series. The voice acting was freaking awesome and very, very nice. The gory stuff was all over the place this week. When Geil got cut down the middle at the end, that was brutal and awesome. Whole Horse himself manages to be a very funny character. I did not actually imagine that, and I really don't see him being too much of a threat in the series, but he might even join the team for all we know. He could be that weird, mysterious member you see at the beginning of the intro when you see that other star in the far distance. I'm not really sure where that's going, but still, there's a lot of good things about this episode. I love that it opened up without the intro and immediately went to the action, as much as I love that intro, which kicks so much ass. This week's episode was just a really nice package with a lot of great action. So all in all, I have no complaints with this episode. Everybody got to do some cool stuff, including Noriaki Kakyoin in his Hierophant green. You got to see Polnareff kicking a lot of ass with his Silver Chariot, which is easily one of the coolest stands of the series, and he's been featured even more than any of the other characters, it seems like, at this point. He's had, like, his own little individual episodes, almost to the point where they might as well just give the dude his own spin-off series. But there it is. I loved this episode. It wasn't perfect. Some of the animation could have been a little better and some of the artwork, but I still think this was a really exciting episode with a lot of really creative moments. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Check it out, guys. Pretty cool episode. If you guys had a chance to check out this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders, I would love to hear your thoughts about it, and you can tell me with your comments below. Please tell me about your favorite moments, your favorite action scenes, and what's with that weird freaky thing that's growing on Joseph Joestar's arm. Remember, guys, before you leave, make sure and give this video a thumbs up. It's really, really easy to do, and it helps out our videos tremendously. You can also subscribe to the channel so you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. You can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put links for those in the description box below. Remember, guys, you can also donate directly to Super Kami Guru 9000 if you would like. So, guys, I will see you next time. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.